As Attorney General, I have a number of priorities, but I think first and foremost among them when it comes to law enforcement is building trust between law enforcement and the communities we serve. And the reason behind that is just simple. I think that we're able to do our job better, we're able to do our jobs more effectively when that trust exists. When it doesn't exist, we've seen the consequences of that happening in other parts of this country, and we're committed that those episodes don't repeat themselves here in New Jersey. That's why I'm so glad that we have prosecutors like Camelia who are really at the forefront of community engagement. We spent the afternoon with Camelia, we talked about her other initiatives, we got to meet with Director Spezial and heard about other community initiatives here in Paterson, so I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be a part of this afternoon's presentation. The way we build that public trust, I think it happens in a number of ways. One way is through encouraging transparency and accountability in law enforcement. So one of the first goals that we had at the Attorney General's office when we took over is to work towards transparency and accountability. And the first three Attorney General's directives that we issued this year in the last 2 months have all been focused on transparency and accountability. Directive number 1 was on the release of body camera footage. There's been debate, there's been litigation, it went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said that the public has a right under the common law to body cam footage involving officer-involved shootings. So what we did, we worked with our county prosecutors, we worked with law enforcement, and we put parameters on when that video footage should be released and under what circumstances and what should be kept out of the public domain and what should be put out. Again, that's to build transparency and accountability between law enforcement and the communities we serve. The other 2 directives that we put out just earlier this week were aimed at making random drug testing mandatory across the state, making early warning systems mandatory across the state. And the thought there is that so many of our departments already do this. There's a handful, maybe 25% that don't. But this is something where we could just sort of get in front of an issue and tell the public that we are committed across this state to making sure that we identify problem actors early, to get officers who might need help at the first red flag. So we don't get to that second, the third, or the fourth incident. And we root out bad actors who really sort of cast a bad light on the profession that in 99.9% of their interactions across this state, 30,000+ law enforcement officers, 9 million people, tens of thousands of interactions on a yearly basis, all without incident. And those few instances, those are the ones we want to catch, and so we're committed to that. And those were the first 3 directives we put out. The other way we build that trust is through this type of engagement. And so another priority for us at the Attorney General's office is what we've called the 21 County 21st Century Community Policing Tour. And the thought there is that we're going to go to every county in the state at least once a year from the Attorney General's office, either myself or the first assistant, and to have a community meeting like this one where we talk about issues of importance to the community. Tonight, officer-involved shootings. On another night, it could be about bias crimes and how they're investigated, or immigrant rights issues, things of that nature. Just be available to answer questions and interact with community stakeholders and build trust before there's a crisis. And so we'll have those meetings quarterly with our county prosecutors across the state in our 21 counties. And the thought is after those meetings are adjourned, after those 4 meetings happen, that those dialogues continue so we can get ahead of issues before they become big problems.